Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. And before we get to our guest today, we have a big shout out for Living Sisu. Living Sisu is a platform and app that wants to give you all the tools to have success in your sport. Their main objective is to activate your lifestyle. So it's for active people. Enjoy discounts at companies like BioSteel, 30% off, Body Logics, the Goalie Guild. All his books are discounted. Roan, Lululemon for men, 20% off. Online stretching programs with Eccentrics, 1 full month free. They got super silent massage guns, 20% off those. And it's a great quality. It's way less expensive than a Theragun, and it's great quality. So there's so many more discounts that you guys will need to just become a member to see. So they want to provide you with anything you need for success. So come join the community. I'm a part of it. A bunch of other athletes are a part of it. So it's free to join. It takes 20 seconds to get exclusive offers to your sport, and it's definitely worth it. So do us a huge favor and go sign up for Living Sisu's membership. It's free, takes 20 seconds. So go do it, and we'll see you there. Living Sisu is a great company. We know one of the co-founders, Zach Fricali. He's a great guy. He's the co-founder. He does a lot of live streams on Instagram at Living Sisu, with a bunch of elite athletes, and you learn a lot from like the athletes' determination, their resiliency, everything to what made them become successful. So it's been a great experience so far. So go on. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. So go sign up. Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and I'm alongside my co-host Tyler, who will be joining shortly. And this will be episode 100 of On the Spot Sports. And we have a very special guest coming on the show. We have a former professional hockey player in the NHL, most notably winning a Stanley Cup in 2010 with the Chicago Blackhawks, Brent Sopel. Brent, welcome to the show.
Number 100? No, I appreciate it. Thanks for scheduling this.
Yeah, no problem. It's good to get you on. Like, we're hoping for you to get on for episode 100, so we saved a spot for you just for you. So good to get this thing.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, good to get this thing going. So, but like, how are you? Like, how have things been during like all this like craziness that we're going through and everything like that?
It's been I'm pretty good. I learned a lot in my life, and it's craziness, but control what you can control, and that's only what I can do, and all the craziness I can't control. So I've been doing pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so like, I'm happy that you're doing well and everything. But like, let's get right into this. And I know you have a foundation, so do you want to tell us a little about your foundation and why you started it and some of the events you guys put on, like your story?
Yeah, so I started the Brent Sopel Foundation, I guess about 3 years ago. I found out 10 years ago I'm dyslexic. So, the foundation is, all about, raising awareness what dyslexia is, because, it's 1 in 5 and hereditary. Very, very, very few people know exactly what it is. So I think less than 20% of the world knows exactly what it is. So, the foundation is here to educate everybody what it is, and, support every teacher, parent, kid there that have it, to get them to understand what they need and what they don't need, and what exactly dyslexia is. And it is just a learning difference, but there's a lot of education in the world to get people to understand what it is before we're going to start making change.
Yeah, that's awesome. You put the foundation together and everything that you guys have put out. Like, you put out information about dyslexia and all that. It's like, what's your overall mission of the foundation, and how are you guys doing it?
Yeah, well, I've got big goals. I released a documentary a couple months ago, and it's titled "Here to Change the World," because that's exactly what I plan on doing with the foundation. And that's educating the world. It's 1 in 5. Everybody knows what autism is, and that's 1 in 65, and it's not hereditary. So the mission is to be there to support and advocate for every dyslexic out there. But I've spoken up in Washington, speaking at the Library of Congress, and trying to take some action into some education policies, because there's some brilliant million kids out there dyslexic that have a chance to change the world, but they're not going to have the opportunity. So, I'm here to change the world is truly what my mission is.
Yeah, that's awesome that you're doing this for everyone that has dyslexia and just getting everyone to know what you're like, what it's all about, and like getting that information out, because there's sometimes when people don't know. So it's really, really nice that you're getting all that information out just from experience and all that, and just helping everyone out and get the education they need for it.
Yeah, I just don't want a kid to feel like, why I feel every day, not finding out until I was 33 that I have it, left a lot of scars in my life. So if I can, help any kid, not have those scars and be able to live, cleaner, more productive life. And that's my mission.
Yeah, that's awesome. So like, where can anyone find out about your foundation, and where could they, like, on the website, like where do they look and stuff like that?
Yeah. The website, yeah, but, we just built a brand new website. It's BrentSopelFoundation.org. You can click on there. There's information about dyslexia. And there's a place to, click on there if you want to email me, or on social media if you have questions, concerns, or anything like that. Feel free to reach out to me. I'll get back to you. At some point in time here to advocate with you or help understand what it is, or whatever your question is. I'll get back to you.
Yeah, we'll definitely try to get everything out like you like you're saying right now, and make sure everyone's aware of this, and just have people look at like what your story is and your website, and like we'll just get it out there for
Yeah,
sure.
no, I appreciate that. And, just because you never know when you're talking about 1 in 5, it's 20% of the population. You just think your class, most classes have 20 or 25 kids in it, and there's, 4 or 5 kids right there. And, a lot of them don't even know. The last I saw here in the US was 40 million adults have it and 2 million know it.
Yeah, that's a crazy stat, and just you never know what people are going through and like what they have. So it's definitely good to get that out and make people aware of it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's, dyslexia is not, like being blind or, being handicapped or whatever it is. It's inside, you can't see it. So you really never know. That's, don't judge a book by its cover. It's a true statement because, for 33 years, I just thought I was dumb and stupid. Nobody else knew. And um, that's why I can look at life differently, because through this, these tough times, because, I've lived it.
Yeah, exactly. And so we'll just do what our part in helping you get it out. So we'll definitely do that for you. So like, let's get on to a little bit of your career really quick. So you started your season your first season in the NHL in 1998, 1999 for the Vancouver Canucks, where you played 5 games to start, and you even had a goal in that span. It's like, what was your first NHL game feeling like, and the emotions you went through to get to that spot, especially after people were doubting you and said that you wouldn't play in the NHL?
Yeah, it was a lifelong dream to play in the NHL. And it was funny. It was, for obviously with the Vancouver Canucks, it ended up being in Chicago. So coming full circle and obviously winning the cup with the Blackhawks, and living in Chicago for all those years. It was my first game. I had a ton of emotions. Obviously, as a kid, that you dreamt of being in the NHL and playing there. So to finally get there and get that call and know that that dream is met. And yeah, it was pretty special. Still remember that night very well. Started that game, and it was just you can't get to two till you get to one, and that was the first one, and it always sticks with me for sure.
Yeah, and you also scored your first goal in your third game, I believe it was, against the Edmonton Oilers. So how special was getting that first goal, and do you remember it super clearly?
Oh yeah, I do. It was in Canada, hockey night in Canada against Edmonton Oilers, and it was funny. I was wearing number 3, and it was my third game. I scored on the third period. I think it was actually on my third shift. I only played like a minute and 20 seconds that whole game, and my parents drove 20 hours to be at the game. So as a Canadian kid, everybody knows hockey night in Canada. That's your goal, is to play in the NHL and be on there. And to be in hockey night in Canada, have everybody across the whole country and be there watching it. We ended up tying the game 1-1. That was before these ties were allowed. So it was Doug Waite scored for the Oilers. But yeah, first goal, late in the third period, and it was special. Still got the puck.
Hey, that's awesome. Just how clearly you can remember your first. It's unreal, and like you could remember every detail about that. So it's awesome to see that. And then you spent majority of or a ton of time in the Vancouver Canucks organization throughout your career. So what was it about Vancouver that you were able to keep finding a home in Vancouver while playing?
Well, Vancouver is one of the most beautiful cities in the world, so I was lucky enough. But it all kind of goes down to Brian Burke, the general manager, and Mark Crawford believing in me, and um, putting me back out there, even though I make mistakes, and Crow would put me back out there and give me the ice time. And to succeed in the NHL, you got to stay there, and to stay there, you got to find people that believe in you. And those two guys believed in me, and through my ups and downs, they were there and kept me putting me back out there and learning. And the only way to learn is by going through the hardships of it on the ice. You can talk about it, but through all my mistakes, Crow was there to back me and put me back out there every time.
What would you say your fondest memory is of playing all those years in Vancouver?
Well, it's such a great city. Yeah, we had some amazing teams. We came up short a number of times, but again, just Vancouver, the city it is, the people that it is, and just to be part of that on the West Coast. We got the late game hockey night in Canada all the time. The battles that we had, some of the rivalries that were built up over the years. So I don't know if I could break it down to one. There's just so many of them.
Yeah, exactly. And so like throughout like your time in the NHL, you spent some time in the AHL as well. So like what was that transition like going from the AHL and then getting your shot at the NHL and just the overall pace of the game and how skilled these guys are?
Yeah, it's a big jump, but the AHL's it's all about learning how to be a pro, and then that's a broad statement, but it's time you wake up and it's the time you go to bed, what you do, how you live your life, and when you're getting paid, it's a completely different life than you were in junior, where you're living somebody else's home, you had a family cooking for you. So if you listen to coaches or GMs, the biggest thing is trying to have players be consistent, and that's learning how to be the pro and playing the pro game and figuring out how to take care of your body and manage those bumps and bruises so that you can play. So the AHL was it was big for me. Coming out of junior, I went there for a couple of years, and I needed that transition. I needed to learn a lot of things that I had to put in play in my repertoire to ever get a shot in the NHL.
Yeah, it's like what was some of those things that you had to work on to help yourself be successful in the NHL and eventually lead to your success within your whole entire career that you had to bring into your repertoire, like you said?
It's the biggest thing for me is, obviously it's work ethic. Obviously you got to work hard. I was never the most skilled, so I always had to outwork everybody, but it's not, big things that a lot of people catch. It's not huge details. It's, do you have your stick in the right position? Is it should be 2 feet here or 2 feet there, and body position. If this guy's facing this way, this is where you need to be. So, what makes or breaks you of the game is the details. And I always say, the pro game is 90% mental, 10% physical. So, it's building that mental game of playing 4 games in 6 nights, and you're tired, but you got to find a way to get it done, because if you don't get it done, then you won't have that, and you're on the bench. So it's just those little things that most people would never notice, but really make or break who you are.
What made you believe so much in your mental game? Because obviously you said you weren't as skilled as everyone else, but what made you believe so much that you could go out there and basically prove to them that you're mentally stronger each and every night?
That was just, that's the dyslexia that we touched upon. Was, that's who I was. When I got on that ice, that was the only thing that mattered. And the fear of failure or not be able to play hockey anymore, it really pushed me to go lengths that most other people wouldn't. And that's what allowed me to stay in the league for pro hockey for 18 years. It's you got to do what you got to do. And, towards the end of the career, obviously blocking shots, I was in pain, but it allowed me to continue playing and be successful.
Yeah, exactly. And just staying in the NHL is super hard, and like you're able to stay there for pretty much your entire career. So like you said, you got into shot blocking. It's like what makes you just stand in front of 90 plus mile per hour shots and just block shots and just take the bruises that you get and just be successful in that matter.
Yeah, started my career, I was obviously on the offensive side, but, my game, I had to change, I had to adapt. And, no matter who you are in business or whatever, you have to adapt. Things change. And, I had to adapt in that role. And yeah, there's no amount of pain that was going to stop me from getting back out there. Yes, it's not glam and glorious. It's not the guy scoring, 50 goals, but it was a role that, I could fill and it allowed me to play for, another 3 or 4 years and win that Stanley Cup. So that was more important than any pain.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So like who would you say was like your biggest inspiration to play the game and like go off his game to bring into your game a little bit?
I don't know if I can narrow it down to one guy. I was, I was a fan of everybody who was playing NHL. They were there, I wasn't. So I just admired, I admired them all that they were there and I wasn't there. So I watched everybody, and in Canada, Hockey Night in Canada it was a staple every Saturday night. So I watched everybody play. So I don't know if I can say I mimic myself off of one guy, because I think you watch my game. There's nobody played the way I did, but it was just taking the bits and pieces of everybody's from goalies to forwards. I could use a little bit of everything, but it was just I just admired the fact that everybody was there, and I wanted to be there.
Yeah, that's a good thing to have in your mind, like that you weren't there and you're just gonna try to admire these guys and look at things that these other guys possess that you haven't, and just try to put into your game to try to get you to the NHL, which eventually it worked. So that's just awesome to have like the mindset of just not watching one player, but watching every single player and just going off what they're doing and trying to pursue your dreams and just go off what they're doing.
Yeah, and they're all there, and I wasn't. So it's not like I didn't matter if they played one shift or 100 shift. They were there, and I wasn't. So you can learn something from everybody out there. Hockey's obviously something you're never perfect at, and you can always get better, and you can always use bits and pieces from everybody. So I try to do that in my career.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what a lot of people don't do now. And they just go off like one guy maybe, but like just looking at the whole population or whole like everyone that's there, and just looking at admiring their game and just looking for anything that they can do to get the edge over another person. I think that's like something you did, and it really definitely did help you in your career at the end.
Well, it's it's the best league in the world, and less than 1% ever get to play there. So you've got to find that niche. You got to find that you can't be good at everything. You got to be great at something. To be able to stick in there. And what is that? And how's that going to help you? And how do you get this? And so it's you're trying to play in the best world and league in the world. And again, you're up against the whole world to do that.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great mindset to have in everything. So like after your career in Vancouver, you went from the Islanders to the Kings, back to the Canucks, and then you found your way onto our Chicago Blackhawks in 2007, 2008. So like throughout all that time, like how much have you developed as a player throughout all that time to definitely help you be that leader in the Blackhawks organization at the time and help the younger guys move on to eventually you guys becoming Stanley Cup champions?
Yeah, that's why I was brought to Chicago as being a veteran guy. They wanted me to, obviously have that leadership, but work with, Brent Sopel and Duncan Keith, young up and comers at that point in time. And, obviously, how do you get experience? It's being there. I've been in the league a long time and played in playoffs and, played in different, divisions, East and West. And, it's has experience there, so they wanted to, develop. That was the year that Ken Tays, their first year, so be there to support them and teach them how to be each and every day and work with different guys. I was a guy that liked to talk and help guys out. I always like to see guys succeed. So that was just a role that I developed as as a player as the years come along, and that's exactly why they brought me there to Chicago.
Yeah, what was it like working with some of those guys that you mentioned in Chicago that are still considered part of their core group now, even to this day, like Kane, Tays, Seabrook? What was it like coming there and, you're new, but some of them were new too. So what was it like first starting to work together, and how did you guys kind of build up this momentum, and how did you guys really start finding your way and becoming a great team?
Well, obviously look at the guys we're talking about, Kane and Tays, we mentioned Duncan Keith and Seabrook, the core of that, core of the Chicago Blackhawks and the dynasty that they keep talking about. So they're willing to want to work and want to get better each and every day. And that's what they did. And a lot of there's just, some details that, like I said, that make or break you who you are. And we've worked on things, but, they just learn how to be a pro. And being a pro and being consistent every game. We got to play 82 games. It's a grind on the body, and so it's just little details like that. We had fun. It was awesome for me to watch them grow up. When I got there, my kids were closer to age in Kane and Tays than they were to me, so they were like my kids. So it was fun to watch them and see where they are today.
Yeah, so then going into the 2009-2010 season where you guys won the Stanley Cup, what was it like growing with that team and eventually seeing yourselves that you guys could potentially make the Stanley Cup finals and going all throughout the playoff series that you've been through getting up to the Stanley Cup final?
Obviously, it took like 3 years, but, the growth that happened in those 3 years, game by game, year by year. So to be a part of that team for those 3 years and grow together, as a team, that was the closest group that that I've ever been a part of. So to watch guys mature and get better and get better as players and as men and as a human beings from the time when they first got there to the time we won, it was pretty special, fun to watch.
Yeah, and it was fun to watch you guys on TV, that's for sure. So then going into the Stanley Cup final, Game 6, Patrick Kane scores the overtime game-winning goal. Like, what was your first reaction? Or, like, did you have a reaction at first when no one literally knew if the puck was in the net besides the one and only that scored the goal?
I didn't really have a reaction. I was one of the oldest guys on the team, and this is my one shot to win. So I kind of slowly got off the bench. I think I was the last one off the bench. I wasn't going to get excited. I didn't want to get excited until I knew exactly what was going on. I didn't want to celebrate and have that come back. So I made sure 100% that it was in before we started having some fun.
What was it like seeing Coach Q's reaction? Because I think everybody knows Coach Q is a very monotone guy. He keeps it very real. But after they won the Stanley Cup, you see that guy put a smile on his face, and it's like, wow, you never see that. So what was it like seeing Coach Q just kind of light up his personality?
Well, obviously he's the second winningest coach in history. He's one of the best coaches I've ever played for. And it's all about respect. He respected us and our dressing room in our area as the respect was mutual back and forth. So, it was great just to see everybody. It's a long season. It's a long grind to get there and to finally win. It's the hardest trophy to win. And, that was the year we started in Europe and the Olympics were that year. So it was a long grind and, all the stars got aligned perfectly for us to win. So just to see the bench light up, see him light up, it's just, the journey was complete.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. So, like, when you got the Stanley Cup from everyone else, like, what was it like holding the Stanley Cup up above your head and just enjoying the moment and the fun that comes with playing the game of hockey and winning the Stanley Cup?
Well, I would say I've won it a couple million times in the outdoor rink growing up as a kid, so to finally, win that and fulfill that and have that, knowing that my name is going to be on that Stanley Cup and I'll always be there, and I think it's visible for 60 years or something. Then it goes to the Hall of Fame. So just to know that my name's on there, and there's been some amazing people there in the Hall of Fame. I've never wanted to, so less than 1% ever play in the NHL, and less than that ever get to win it. So it's pretty special.
Yeah, for sure. So congrats on winning the Stanley Cup back in 2010. So then after you were with the Hawks, you began playing in the KHL for a few seasons. So like, what was your experience in the KHL? Because I've heard a bunch of different things about playing in the KHL, and like it could be fun. It's fun, but there's also a lot of like travel stories and all that comes with it.
Yeah, it's to me it was awesome. I continued my career. I ended up playing over 1,000 professional regular season games, and one of my best friends I met over there, and it's a different mindset. You're going to live in Russia, so it's not, it's not North America. It's a completely different mindset. Where I played was from Chicago was 15 hours in the air and 12-hour time change. So got to see Eastern Europe. I was in and out of 10 different countries. Kazakhstan, Belarus, Sweden, Switzerland, Finland. I covered geography I never would have. So met some amazing people. I was treated great. I loved my time there, and it's the second best league in the world, no question. So to say I was spending time in Moscow and in Red Square, and going to Kazakhstan, so I have nothing but great things to say about it.
Yeah, so like, what was it like going to these different countries, and like the geography you got to hit, like you said, was a lot more than you expected. It's like, how much fun was it just traveling and just going to like all these different countries where you probably wouldn't have gotten the opportunity if you didn't go play in the KHL?
Yeah, 100%. Nobody ever talks about going to Eastern Europe. I'm going to go on the vacation. No, it was amazing. Obviously different food. What we live every day here in North America. We're spoiled. We have no idea what goes on in these other countries. So I've seen it firsthand. I was part of it firsthand. So it gives me all new respect for for life and where you can be and where I was. So like I said, I have nothing but great things to say. For 3 years over there, and toured around the world and met some great people and cultures and tried some great food, and saw some scary things, did some scary things. So all in all, it was amazing.
If you had to narrow it down to probably one thing about your time in the KHL and your time in Moscow with all the traveling, what would you probably say your favorite part was during those 3 years?
You know what? I ended up meeting one of my best friends there. And we speak weekly, and I own my life, and so it was a friendships that I made there, and like I said, the people in all these countries treated me great. So trying new foods, and it was just an overall amazing experience that I would have never gotten if I didn't play hockey.
Yeah, that's awesome about like where the different people that you meet and like the friendships you don't expect to get and where you are, and then like they become your best friends, and you just have so many memories with them. It's just awesome that happens in like all the small world that we live in.
It's as big as the country is, it is a small place, and again, just to make, you never know what's out there, and just live for the day, live for the moment, because you never know where you're going to be or what's going to be or what can be.
Yeah, exactly. It's like going into the KHL, like what was the biggest transition that you noticed playing from the North American game to the game in Russia?
Well, the biggest part is it's over there is Olympic size ice, so the ice surface is bigger. So the game is completely different. If you had that much time, more time in the NHL. So the game over there isn't as physical because it can't be, because the ice is too big. So you have to adjust how you play, and that's why you see all these Europeans come over being so skilled, because they grow up in the big ice, and it's transition for them to come here onto that smaller ice.
Yeah, so like what was the biggest adjustment you had to make as a defenseman during your time in the KHL that you didn't have to really have in the NHL in North America?
In North America, as a D-man, you'd want to finish your checks behind the net and kind of pin the guy in for a second or two, and big ice you couldn't. You had to go there. You couldn't finish your check. It was just so far to come. So for me, it was a mindset that I had to change, because I played on the smaller ice my whole life. So I think I think I ended up being 37 or 30, something like that when I went over, 36. So playing, organized hockey almost for 30 years, I had to, change my mindset a little bit and just know that I had more time than I usually didn't, because just had that extra foot, 2-3 feet, whatever that may be.
Yeah. So then after your time in the KHL, you came back for a year to play for the Chicago Wolves in the AHL. So, like, what was your experience in Chicago in the AHL with the Wolves?
Yeah, it's I wanted to get my 1,000th professional, regular season game in North America, and the Wolves were great enough to allow me to play there. And again, my career was ending. That was going to be my last year, so just to work with guys, work with coaches, just trying to develop players. I was there for them, and I got my 1,000th game and retired a couple of days later. So allowed them to, the Wolves were great to sign me and allow me to do that. And, back in North America, in my hometown.
Yeah, I saw you both playing with the Hawks and the Wolves, and so it was awesome seeing you play for them, for our hometown team, and just like everything you brought to the table. So like it was definitely fun watching you play there.
Yeah, it was great. I was an older guy, and to have these younger guys trying to learn and develop and want to make it to the NHL. So I was just trying to help them if I could give them some advice or help them with something. That's all I was trying to do.
Was there any sort of deja vu moment when you came back to play for the Wolves? Because you obviously played for the Blackhawks for a couple of years before. So was there any kind of like reminiscing memories coming back to play for a Chicago team?
Well, that's where I was living. That was my home. That was I classified my hometown. So it was basically playing down the road from the United Center. Playing my hometown to be able to get the 1,000th game in my hometown. With friends around and my place, and it was it worked out.
Yeah, that's unreal. I have a few more questions for you before we end this interview. So like, what was it like playing that 1,000th game and like playing 1,000 professional hockey games and like everything you've been through throughout all that time?
Yeah, there's some milestones. As a hockey player, obviously your first NHL game and goal, and obviously 1,000 games in the NHL is special, and 1,000 regular season games in pro hockey is pretty special too. So to play 18 years pro and to get that milestone, and there's a lot of hardship, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. I went through it, but it was pretty special to say I'm one of those guys that got that done.
Yeah, 1,000 games. That's incredible, and like the career you've had was super special to watch and see, and like everything around it, like. That must have been an amazing feeling. So like my final question for you is like, if you have any tips for like any younger hockey players, like what would it be?
You think you're working hard, but you need to work harder. Because there's only one thing you can control is how hard you work, and you can't control what your teacher thinks or your coach thinks. You all can control your work ethic, and work ethic always wins in the end, and control what you can control.
Yeah, that's the main thing, is control what you can control, like you said, and just having that work ethic that you just got to keep getting better. Like you can't settle for anything else. You just got to keep getting better and better each and every day, and getting to the level you want to be.
Exactly.
Yeah. So go ahead.
One life to live, and it's you got one life to live. So do you want to look back and say, "Oh, I wish, should have, could have"? If you work hard, then that'll never happen.
Yeah, exactly. So Tyler, do you have any last minute questions?
Yeah, there was a specific game that I wanted to come back to. It was with your tenure in the Blackhawks, the year they won the Stanley Cup. I believe it was a regular season game. Correct me if I'm wrong. You guys were down, I believe, 4-0 entering the third period. I think you might know what game I'm talking about. The Blackhawks ended up winning that game. I believe it was 5-4.
We won. We're down 5-0, and we won 6-5 against Calgary. We're down 5-0 at the first period.
How was that game? Like what a roller coaster of emotions did you guys go through and you went through during that game? Because I mean, unbelievable comeback.
Well, again, it just goes with the year and how that year you've got to learn. You take a look at anybody win the Stanley Cup. They've usually had some hardships to get there. And you learn from mistakes, you learn from certain things. And we were down 5-0 after the first period and ended up winning 6-5 in overtime. And it was definitely a roller coaster. None of us played well. Every single one of us can point a finger at each one of us because none of us showed up in the first period. And, that was just kind of how we we supported each other. We had each other's back, and we went back to work the next period, and look what ended up happening. So it was another one of those learning curves for us, and it was just another point milestone to the way that year went.
Yeah, what a sigh of relief when that overtime goal went in and you guys got the dub, even though it was super hard. But that must have been a sigh of relief for sure.
Yeah, especially when you're down 5-0, you end up winning. So that doesn't happen very often in the NHL.
Yeah, but you guys got the job done, and that's all that really matters.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Brent, thank you so much for coming on the show and taking the time out of your day to come on. We really appreciate your time and want to wish you nothing but the best of luck with your foundation and everything going in your life. And we'll definitely get all the information out about your foundation and your story.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.